Okay. Let me plug it in.
An overloaded system. Wow. So they
support teams. Here's my mattress, Catherine. This used to be your listing? For real? That was the photographer, the photograph you took? You use people's pictures. I thought that was against the law. I mean,
Does it make a difference if it's internal or not? This is not.
Catherine did. Let's get we owe Catherine money. We'll get you a pair of yellow sneakers, Catherine, to make it all up. We'll call it even. Yeah, there you go. You could sell them to Kim. Kim wants a pair. Oh my God, I need to take a breather. Huh? Yeah. They were made special. They're the, what are these? What are these ones? There we go. Are they still no, Weicker got them. So Aaron Middleton, whatever, however you say, Medition, I never say his name right. He has taken over to revitalize Weicker. Okay, so it's called Weicker Reimagined. And so he's sitting with managers and saying, what are the change points, agents, what are the good things, what can we elaborate on? So they hired, so this was, so they ordered these as a joke for one of the leadership, and it turned out to spiral out of control because everybody wanted them once they saw them. Yeah. Oh no, get my dress all at once. I must go right down the stairs. Like that would not be good. How long would it have taken for people to realize I was missing? That's yeah, I just got it last week. Yeah, they just came in last week. So is anybody here into mediums?
I'm more extra large.
A medium, a psychic medium, No, I'm just wondering if anybody's into that psychic medium sort of thing. Because last night, my sister had signed us up for one in hopes to talk to my mother. And so I was like, oh, I've never done anything like that. I don't even know what it's about. So it was a Zoom meeting. It's a Zoom meeting. So anyway, his name is Matt. Oh God, what's his name? Yeah. And he's a young guy, like Staten Island accent. And so you don't know how many people are on the call because you only see Matt. And then if the spirit comes to him, then he pulls that person up on the screen and then he has a conversation with them. Which if it's real, then he knows what he's talking about. You know, I don't know if things are staged. I know nothing about that stuff. But it's real. People were crying. It was like real emotions and stuff. We did not. So at one point it said, do you want to be an attendee or a panelist? So I clicked panelist. I figured I'm already attendee. Let me click panelist. So it shows me all the boxes. Now I can see everybody like a regular Zoom call. And there's 875 people. And I'm like, oh, I text my sisters because they're at one location together and I'm over at my house. I was like, there's 875 people. I don't think mom's coming through today. But yeah, 875 people. I'm clicking up how much he made for an hour and a half on that. That's what I start doing, calculating how much he made. He contacted about 10 people. 10 people. 10 people got in front of the line, basically. That's what he says. Oh, here's someone who got in front of the line. Yeah, it's very interesting though. Some were boring and some were fun. But I said, I'm just saying by his accent. He's a New Yorker of somewhere. I said Staten Island. Just, he hasn't had me. He had that sort of like very, what do you call it? No. He was like very out there, you know, like so character. But okay, anyway, we'll get started. I just need to take a breather. I'm running around since 8 o'clock. I didn't see you this morning at ShopRite, John. Oh, your wife is here. Okay. Usually I run into somebody. So this specific quote came to me on Friday because on Friday, a few agents had reached out to me and said, I need people for my open house. And I thought, oh, we have an office of 112 agents. That should be easy. Well, it wasn't. To get 3 open houses covered. Saturday, Sunday, and then I think it was 2 for Saturday and 1 for Sunday. So I realized that if we're not doing the activities, right, and we're just making excuses for the market, then we're not going to get far in this market. This is a challenging market, but people are very successful in this market. So put all excuses aside and remember this: you are capable, but you have to put the time into this business. It is so important, so important. We did get the 3 covered, so we were fortunate that we got everything covered and we had a good open house weekend. But these are the activities we have to do. It's just part of our business. So some of the people who do that very well, yes. The traffic was lighter than we've seen. Yeah, I would say it was one of the lighter weekends that we've seen in the past 2 years, probably. Yeah, no, it was lighter than it was. Yes, it was lighter than it has been. But just think about that. The people who are coming through are very motivated, right? They're ones who need to buy something. So anyway, so some of the people who don't make excuses are our top 200 in the company. So there's 5 agents who made the top 200 in 2021 out of 7,000 agents. So that's really amazing. So Mara Glauberg, I know we posted this one when she met with Joe a few weeks ago, number 18 in the company out of 7,000. Brenda Lee, number 61 in the company out of 7,000. Michael Elms, number 76 in the company out of 7,000. Kim Brutchka, number 142 in the company out of 7,000. And then last, but certainly not least, to make it in the top 200 is Cheryl Towie, number 199 in the company out of 7,000 agents. So, no. So the company owned offices. So Jim Waker owns about 5 now, I think, offices. And so those company offices, which are Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland, and so those, and Jersey, of course, right. So, no, she asked if they were only in New Jersey. That's why, so then we were going through everything else. So, yeah, so those are the company-owned offices. So just think about that, 199. Cheryl just made it, but it doesn't matter because she made it, right? It doesn't matter the number when you make it into something like that, but isn't that funny? Oh my God, I
When
just,
you would call me about which one this was, and I was like, oh, that's Cheryl's
I was like,
place.
so don't worry about
And
it. So,
I called
them, so we have
just
2 agents spotlight
Friday,
today
Monday, I don't know, whatever day it was, Friday,
Right.
Monday, just Monday this week.
into here.
Because I had figured out, like, I'm like, oh, it's Cheryl's place, and that would, across from, like, when I figured out the address, that you were the number here, you were actually talking.
Right, because it's
called-
weird. That's 2.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
so I
28.
called
Oh,
Cheryl, and I'm like, hey, Cheryl, she was like, she saw me.
Share that with me.
I
I was.
haven't talked to them in
No, I
forever.
just told
So I called her. I'm like, hey, I got a call from, I guess, your realtor. Take a look at the wall. Just so I was like, I figured I'd just reach out to you, see what was going on. I guess you're selling the place out. Because I didn't know they had the place on the market. And then when I called her, she had literally just got off the phone with my mom. About her, about Joe. She's like, oh my God, I thought you were like calling to, and I'm like, my parents just got back from Croatia.
Oh,
So I hadn't talked to them at all. And she was like, it was just weird how it
Full circle.
like the universe that day had something going on, because she's like, I just got off the phone with your mom. I thought you were calling for that. And I was like, no, I had no idea, because she told me, and I was like, oh my God.
I think that's why it shocked me so much, because I didn't hear from her.
Yeah, she doesn't have anything on the board.
It was very. Oh, power. Oh, I did something with power. Okay. Okay. You're on. Yeah. Okay. Everybody have a.
The reason why I chose this subject was because I've been in a lot of offices in Wygrad and as well as other agencies. And I found a lot of mishaps, even in this office. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the truth. So I think we all forget about what our responsibilities are as far as a professional go. So I can name what I want, but I want to hear what you have to say, to be honest. All right, what do you have to write down? Where's my little card? Okay. What do you have to say?
Consistent commitment, customer service knowledge.
I had a one on one this morning on my way. Terry? I have respect, follow through, do what you say you do, prepare. Respect is a big one, and that's my number one.
I got professionalism is the way a salesperson carries himself. And I treat people the way like.
I have personality, appearance, knowledge.
Of course you do.
Of course.
Ultimate customer service, courtesy to others, willingness to help others, accuracy.
I don't know what it is. Jessica, I'm sorry. Miss Joanna. Anything different?
Yes, but, some timely in today's market, not necessarily this time, 5 years ago. Things have moved so quickly. Client centric and do things in the best interest of the clients.
Mark?
Proper communication.
I like that one. Yeah, because I've heard a lot of different languages that are being used, and I'm not talking about other than English. I'm talking about foul language. I've heard it in every office at one time or another, and I think it's absolutely ludicrous that people lose control. That people lose control of themselves. I want to tell you, you know what, because many times I think we all get to that point. You're dealing with another agency and they're not nice to you at all. And you want to lose control of yourself, but you don't. And what taught me to watch what I say, try to anyway. Years ago when my kids were small, I had them in the car and I went to pick up my husband at the train station, and somebody cut me off, almost hit me, and I cursed. And as soon as my husband got in the car, the kids said, "Mommy said a bad word." And it made me stop and realize that no matter how angry you get, and I do get angry when I'm in the car by myself and somebody cuts me off, I'll say whatever I want because there's nobody there to hear it. But some of the stuff that comes out of people's mouths are absolutely abominable. Yeah, I never hear you swear.
It was more about being punctual with patients. Said something to you, said something back right away.
We don't say anything at all. Responsive.
Yeah, Jerry's also, timing, like, don't text me at 6:30 in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. Somebody
Yeah, they do. I got a phone call one night at 12 o'clock from Deborah Ondo, and I'm sure she hit the button by mistake. I didn't answer the phone. I wasn't going to, because if I did, I would have said something. No, that's how it goes.
Are you at 6 in the morning, Mark?
That's a good one. That is. Only answer their phones with this text messages. I mean, it's annoying. It really is annoying, but still, if you're looking to get an appointment to go, I would hope that all of you, somebody contacted you and that you responded right. You know, and not wait 2 days later, because I had that happen recently. By the time I got to the third, I was livid because we had to get to the house. Then
expect others or anything.
is that I feel it's very necessary service. And with that, Terry will have to go now.
Terry is the epitome of service. Now that everybody was introduced to Jessica, if you haven't met Jessica yet, she's been in our office. She's so quiet and sweet. She had her first closing yesterday. And it wasn't an easy one. It wasn't an easy client. Not that anyone here has easy clients, but it was like she learned everything from client. A through Z. I know that. I know that.
I need more than 10 minutes.
Oh, geez.
Is that okay?
Okay, Carol.
No, it's not gonna be like that. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna talk about appraisals.
Yes.
Now, I'm not a professional appraiser. I have no credentials that way. I just want to speak about appraisals from a realtor perspective. Hopefully you can use some of this information. I really haven't had any serious problems with appraisals. Maybe I'm just lucky, I don't know, but I like to think that it has to do with preparation. So, from my point of view, so what's the appraiser looking for? What's his job? He wants to make sure that the house appraises for what your client or the client on the transaction is paying for. It's all about the sales price. and looking at current market conditions. So generally, they go back about 6 months. I've had where they've gone back 12 months, where there just wasn't enough information, so they took it back. Has to do with the town you're in, of course, you know, the community, so forth. What's the location of the home in the community, and whether it's residential, mixed use, all this stuff plays into their job. And of course, it's always about price, location, condition, just like it is for realtors. So that's what they're looking at too. Now, they have access to the MLS and all the other sources that we do. So what are we going to tell them different? Well, there's a lot of things that I found, you know, in my experience, that they don't know. First of all, I don't know where they're coming from. Are they from Morris County? Is that help me, not help me? So the first thing I normally do when I compare is I try to think like them. So unless they're working as a realtor, they don't know what you're going through. You know, multiple offers, something else that happens on the transaction that they have no information about. And I'll tell you a true story about that. A few years ago, I was looking at comps to, you know, make a preparation for meeting the appraiser. And I couldn't understand why this one house was like 100,000 less. Now, this was back when wasn't this kind of market where everything's over crazy pricing. Some of it doesn't even make sense now. But it was less, it was the same square footage, approximately same kind of house, right down the street. Why was this house so much less? I'm looking online, I don't see anything there that's explained it. I look at the pictures of the house, it looked beautiful. So this is the craziest thing. So what you have to do, or what I did, and I always do this if something doesn't make sense to me, I pick up the phone and I call the realtor. Well, it turns out those pictures were old. The house was completely gutted inside. There was a fire. So it was a vacant house. It was down the street from where I was. So I got permission. I went in the house. There was nobody there. It was already under contract. She said, yeah, you can go in. I explained why I wanted to. Completely gutted out from a fire. So that would explain it to me. But the appraiser, let's say he pulls up the same comps I do. He's looking at that house. He's going, wow, this is a beautiful house. How come? Well, that's why. So one of the things like that I like to get into when I put together what I call a little package. Now, not everybody has to do this. This is just me, you know, just pointing this out. So one of the things I do before I'm looking for actives under contract sold that are comparable with my property that I'm trying to get appraised is start with the community. So I go on Wikipedia and I pull out information because I feel I don't know where the appraiser is coming from. I had somebody one time that was from Ocean County meeting me in Parsippany, shows up 2 hours late practically, doesn't know one thing about Parsippany. And I'm like, oh, great. But I had my little appraisal package, so to speak. And one of the first things I do is I give information about the area. So they know, is it a borough? What kind of, housing is in this area? So this is an example of one that I just did that I'm meeting the appraiser tomorrow. And as luck would have it, it's Little Falls. So the first thing we all think of as realtors is flood zone. Exactly, flood zone. Well, when I was preparing not only for this, but for the listing, because I'm a listing agent on this, which is another thing. Yes, generally the appraiser contacts the buyer's agent. But I said to my buyer's agent on this, I said, if you would like me to meet the appraiser, I'm happy to do that because I've spent a lot of time researching this house and pricing. So I can help. If you would like, if you'd like to do it, I'm fine. And he says, no, go right ahead, you know? So I had all my information. So here's something on Little Falls. So I printed out this because I don't know who I'm going to be meeting tomorrow. The next thing I did when I was talking before about community, well, Little Falls flood zone. Flood zone, that's all we think of. That's a big negative. But there's a big project going on in Little Falls that has been for a few years, apparently. I didn't know that until I researched it. Called the Peckman River Basin Project. And they're doing all kinds of work in Passaic County along the Passaic River to keep places from flooding. And it's funded by the federal government. It's had a lot of success. So I printed out all that information for this appraiser tomorrow, hoping that that will influence it also. Okay, so it's not just about this under contract sold, it's about the community. What can you do to get this house to have value? So I always feel I have one chance to meet the appraiser. So I'm going to try to be respectful first, make an impression, give him my information, show him that I'm vested in this process. And then I step back and let him do his job. Just introduce myself and then I step away. Because he's got all his work to do, measuring, taking stats, his information, whatever they do, they record a lot of information. So I don't want to assume he knows anything. I just want to be helpful. But I let him do his work first. And then at the end, I say to him, I have some information for you about the property. Would you like to see it? I've always had everybody say, yeah, sure. Now, whether they look at it is another thing. I don't know. What they do, but at least they know I tried. But I have to say, most of them will flip through and say, oh my goodness, yeah, this is great, whatever. So, as I mentioned before, the appraiser has access, let's say, to the MLS. So he's looking at the same properties I'm looking at, basically. If I need additional properties, I go to a surrounding tab. You don't necessarily have to do that anymore because there's so many under contracts in this market. You can pretty much get whatever you want. I usually start out with just the number of bedrooms, baths, but I do a summary in here, which I'm going to pass this around so you can glance at it, just give it back. And I do the square footage. Okay, so I go on another site. I have a summary sheet. Attached to it is the active under contracts and sold. Square footage for all those houses, anything to be helpful for this individual. Okay. You also should always include, yes.
NJFB, yeah.
I'm gonna go on the RPR. The RPR. Yeah, because that also has square footage, has a lot of good information on schools, the communities and so forth. So I was thinking about that. I don't know if something else comes up. Okay. I always look at the NAR, the RPR report. I like that whole thing. It's got a lot of good information, but yeah, I'm sure there'll be other ways. It won't be as quick and as easy as the one that we're used to, but.
Never seems.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? And also, on each listing that I put in the booklet, if there's anything that I found out that's not reflected on the listing itself, on the printout itself, I handwrite it in on the bottom. Like the information about that fire, the house that was gutted, I wrote that in, I signed it, I put the date. I stand behind what I'm saying is what I'm trying to show the appraiser. So anyway, I look at the similar properties the same way we all do. There's nothing different there. Never include attorney correspondence. Nothing with the attorneys, because that's all credits and we're going to do this and that. The appraisers don't. They're just concerned with the sale price that's on that contract. So that's why also you must include a copy of the contract if you're going to be meeting the appraiser. A lot of times they have access to all this, but there's always somebody now that's missing something. I also will give them the seller's disclosure, because that's got how old perhaps the furnace is and how old this, that, new roof. So I find that's helpful. I'm just trying to show value to this house, but no attorney correspondence. because that's kind of privileged information and they don't need to know about all that. Okay, so let's see. That's kind of it. I try to make it personal. So after the appraiser's done, and I asked him would he like my information, they take it. I had someone, I have a lot of them say, this is great, I'll look at it, whatever. And like, you know, like I said, I just try to make it a complete package so that I know I'm talking about this house. So far, knock on wood, it's good luck. I've been okay with it. I really haven't had any serious problems. Excellent job. Excellent. And that's about it.
Above and beyond, yes.
Actually, you know, it's funny.
$25 an appraisal report. She'll take care of it for you.
Actually, I really enjoy it when Deb says to me, you know, can you talk, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, what do I do well? I don't know. And I'm thinking to myself, gee, I know an awful lot about nothing or lots of things, but I do enjoy the appraisal analysis process. And I have to say the home inspection. I know nobody else does, but I do. I like to kind of tackle a problem. What information you want to tackle before it gets to you.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Right,
you know what?
Versus-
Let him do his job, be respectful, offer this, but make sure you know what you're talking about. I mean, anybody can handle active under contract sold here, take these, what you think, right? But I think if you make it to show that.
Yeah, I had to do one time for Rockaway. They were all kinds of houses, 700 and some $1,000. That's a big number for Rockaway.
Yeah, it is.
And I had to go to Denville and I had to go to and I had everything backed up. It goes all over the place. And when I gave it to him, he said, he thanked me profusely. I said, because there's nothing here.
Yeah.
In Rockaway.
Yeah, that happens. It's not that much of a problem anymore, I don't think, because we have so much space.
Think that there will be any problem. I left the appraisal there. I did a bit of detail for money. And I connected, I thought I connected. Appraiser. We talked about restaurants and stuff like that. And then at the end, I said, "Do you see any problem?" He said, "No." And then he raised it 8% less. So they really don't like talking to you and getting into anything that's gonna put them on the defense about the property. They'd rather just say yes and then do what they
Right.
No, but I don't know how they could even make a judgment. I mean, they have to analyze. I mean, you know, and if it's something like
one of the worst things that can happen is some sort of phrases and then you have to like defend it. And they won't change it. I had that happen to my fire for us. And he didn't use houses that wanted to up.
he went outside of the area. Oh, that's a good point. Always use a house that's in that neighborhood. Even if it's not the same style, if it's not, it
Right, because
doesn't
they
matter.
will use something that's not the same style to stay closer to the home. I
That's
found this out recently from Anthony. Then they will, and just adjust accordingly, then they will go out of the area if they don't have to.
I don't think it's that. I think that maybe 3-4 months ago, when the market was trending up, the appraisers took that into consideration, that prices were going up. And what he told me is that what he's finding is that, and this was a month ago, which probably a little different now, that prices were not over asking. They were either contract price or a little bit less. And that kind of means that their rise is trending down. And it's not going to add to whatever they come up with. They know that in 3 weeks.
Well, they can't add to it. They have to go by comps. They can't say, well, the market's up 10%.
6 months ago, 9 months ago, that they took that into consideration, the fact that the market was just constantly going up. So if they did, I don't know. They're not doing that
They
anymore.
can't go by what is happening. It has to be a solid comp. And another thing, just to add to that is, when the day the appraiser comes out, that they can only use homes that sold that day previous. So if something closes the next day that is going to bring your home to that, it's going to bring that comp up, right? Yes, then you should wait, So you need to be, again, you need to be on top of that. You know something's closing in a week and it's going, and that's the comp you need to get to, to your house to that pricing, then you need to hold it off and do that. And I've had agents call me and say, I have called this agent 3 times. I know it closed last week. They marked it on Facebook that it's sold and this is the price, but they haven't put it in the MLS yet. Could you please reach out to them? Because my appraiser's coming out tomorrow. So they're so on top of that, exactly what's going on in their market area and the neighborhood to know that they have to hold it off so that they can get that comp in, so they're one for the comp. Yes.
Could you please give me a heads up on the price when I've done it? Because I know the poor person is, trying to come down now. They want that.
And that's a great point, because a good appraiser and a good real estate agent, right? Not the average one, a great appraiser, a great real estate agent is gonna pick up the phone and make calls, and they're gonna find things out. They're not gonna just be like, I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure. They're gonna pick up the phone, like Terry got a listing in a flood area and found out all about the Snake River and what they were doing. She didn't just wait until someone, let me see if someone knows, I don't know, we'll wait until it happens. Maybe it won't be a problem. No, she's proactive in everything she does. She's not reactive. She doesn't wait till the problem comes and figures, now what do I do? It's like, okay, that problem, here you go. Here's the information. I already looked into that. Wait, there's a question. Sorry.
So what you just said, for the appraiser does contact you, have to send email to you, that's the best thing to do. Try to set the prices. What's the appointment? Say, look, the appraiser contact us to find out what the price of the property.
Right.
So you get the pushback, they want to, 200 grand over what.
Right. Yes. Joe?
Just curious, you don't know, you have behind you.
I'm sorry.
Any appraisers ask for a copy?
She hands it to them.
Oh, I give it to them.
Yeah. That's for them.
Yeah, that's for them to take away, because I'll often have notes in it, my own notes that I sign off on. And I have gotten calls from appraisers of maybe houses that closed that I was involved with. I've gotten calls. Can you tell me why it closed at a lower price? It seems like it should be higher. And I know the property, so I will share why. And if it's just stuff like that, this, that, all of these things affect the price. And the market right there. So it's that knowing.
Yes. It's a little bit visual as a listing agent.
Not necessarily. No. This one I wanted to. The one I had in Long Valley, I wanted to. That was a big vacant house, problems, whatever. That's the one I just alluded to, where it sold for less. Looks like surface-wise it should sell for more, but a lot of problems. So, no, I don't. I don't. Sometimes I don't interfere at all. I'm confident about comps because I know, I let the buyer's agent do. But, the buyer's agent doesn't have the same vested interest in the house appraising. He doesn't care, he or she. I want the house to appraise for my client, especially when they're on a tight budget. There's not a lot of room there. You kind of want to, do extra, but it just depends on the facts, whatever the situation is, whether I volunteer or not. Sometimes I don't want to ruffle the feathers of the other party, so I stay out of it.
Bev?
Yeah, it's part of that package. Because if there's, sometimes the appraiser don't have it. Sometimes they don't. Most often, they have the same information, but you want to show that there's not the, it's cold, I can't think anymore. With the rolling with the closing costs.
Concessions.
Thank you, seller's concession. You want to, because the house has to appraise for that amount. Whatever the amount is on the contract, that's what we're going by. So if your client's putting down 20% or less, it has to appraise for that price. Even though the closing costs are rolled into, everything's based on the contract. So they want to see that. A lot of taxes, like let's say that's me, I have all this habit. Yeah, I'll take it and whatever.
Some of them don't. So you gotta just go, I just take the approach, they don't know this house, they don't know this area, they don't know this contract, I'm giving them everything. They can throw out what they don't want, and that's it, really. But so far, it's been pretty good with that. And also, it's good information to share. I had an appraiser on a house in Sparta. He's also a realtor, so he was very knowledgeable. But he said to me, this is absolutely great, because a lot of people just pull off a few things, hand it to you, and that's it. But he can, I mean, you know, like he was a realtor. I don't know how much time he spends on it, and I didn't need to know that. But as I said, they have access to what we have access to, but not all the other parts of it. The talking with other agents, what the feedback is from clients, all this and that we do, that we put right in our little handouts and give it to them and see if it influences it, you know, positive. So that's it.
No, they have an adjustment chart. Yeah, they adjust. We don't adjust. We don't do adjustments. That's the difference. So just two things I want to bring up that Terry mentioned, you know, at the end was, number one, both Joanne Vickers and Lori Kaplan said, put your client's interest first. So if you're representing the seller, and I know like sometimes a buyer's agent won't be in the area and will call, can you go? No, I'm not going there. That's your responsibility. This is what I hear. Not from only here, but you calling someone in a different area, right? For some reason, we don't want to work with each other. We always want to go against each other. I'm not sure why. But it's your client, it's in your seller's best interest. Yes, now we have appraisal waivers. I understand. It's not going to last forever. In fact, they're starting to go away. All right. So yes, during this time, it doesn't really matter as much, right? If someone away with the appraisal. But it still means, yes. What does that mean? I don't understand. Mm-hmm. Nobody else, no, this is very, very, I know, right.
But this was my buyer.
Mhm.
So that did not go easy. So, I think crazy, they grabbed, they didn't want to go through that. You offered a lot on the house, it was a great offer, it's accepted. So I called up the listing agent and I told him that we have an appraisal waiver. I'm not sure if the buyer is going to go for the appraisal because they might want to because they just took a haircut on the house that they're selling. But it's possible that they will if they could get some money back for waiving it. And he asked me how much they wanted back, and I gave him a number, and then he called me back and said that they feel that it will appraise and that it will be appraisal. And I knew that my buyer had already made the decision that they would make the appraisal. Then he called me back 20 minutes later and said, we'll give you $2,500 for it.
So the seller gave the buyer. Okay. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Very interesting. That's the first time I've heard that. And again, I don't know that we'll hear that moving forward, just because I don't think we're going to see appraisal waivers as much. Maybe in 10 years. Yeah, we're all still here. We're all still here. Yeah. So I mean, again, we are responsible for our sellers. We know, so we have to make sure that we're doing the best for them as well, right? That we're getting that price to where it should be. Don't count on a buyer's agent who, if there is no appraisal waiver, doesn't care because then there's negotiation for the buyer, right? They don't have the same, right? They don't have the same mindset as you do, and they're looking out for their buyer. You need to look out for your seller. I understand that, but I don't think they do. I don't think most people go above and beyond. That's what I'm saying. If they don't have to. I always say agents specifically, because that's who I work with, so that's all I can talk about, take the path of least resistance. They're not gonna do more than they have to do, right? So that's why I wouldn't put it in their hands and just plan unless they say, this is what I do. Like Terry is a buyer's agent, says, oh, I just want you to know what I do when I go to appraisal, then you feel confident, right? But otherwise, I don't know that you should feel confident in that.
Similar to what I'm where put a training instructor.
Yes, right. Absolutely, that's a great one. Or at least at offer with the sale price, right? Not the sale price, but it was on the listed price. Thank you, listing price. So as long as it comes in at listing price or listing, then you're willing to take the gap, bridge the gap, whatever that is. So.
Or you were talking about a waiver that ordered stuff to say.
All right, so a brief state of the market, just to go over some of the things. So this is for April. Pending home sales were down 3.9% month over month in the Northeast, month over month, down 16.2%. So, that's where we are, obviously, in the Northeast. So it gives you a little bit of idea what's happening in April. And of course, that's because there's low inventory, right? That's all based on the inventory shortage that we have. This is hard to read, so let me be able to have it on the slide in your computer. So year-over-year percentage in active listing inventory. And this was as of last month, ending May 29th. Listing inventory was up 1.9% for this year, right, for the month over April. And it was down 38% since last year. Year-over-year percentage change in pending listings inventory, down 17.4%, but it was actually up 34% over last year. Ratio of pending listings per 10 active listings, 8.4%, down 10% over last year. Year-over-year percentage in new listings in the past 4 weeks. So that was the month of May. There was no year-over-year change, or no month-over-month change, I should say. The year-over-year change was 13.2%. Year-over-year percentage change in pending sales in the past 4 weeks was down 13.3%, but up 15% over the year prior. And year-over-year percentage change in median sales price, up 15%, but that we've seen it up over 19% year-over-year, right? The prices of homes have gone up dramatically in a very short period of time. Sale to list price ratio is at 100.5%. Over last year was 99.7%. And median days on market, 12 days this year over 15 days last year. So things have changed. I think most of that is pretty much what we know today. This is a weekly real estate monitor. A lot of this information is on your NAR realtor stats. You can go on there on a weekly or monthly basis to get a lot of this information if you want to share it with your clients. So year-over-year percentage change in active and pending listings. So if you see, and let me see if I can move my cursor over here. Right here, we're actually up with active listings. So active listings has started rising, okay? So that's what this blue line is. So this was prior to, and now we're up since January of 2021, okay? And then our sale to list price of existing home sales is up, obviously, tremendously. That's something that we knew to happen. As far as Weichert, average sale price, we have the highest sale price in history right now, in the history of Weichert of 52 years. is 524,945 is the average list price. Up 8.44 over 1 year and 40% over 5 years. Isn't that crazy? 40%. This is through all the Waker companies. Well, so within our Northeast, because he doesn't have any national, but so within the Northeast. Yeah. It's not including the franchises, correct?
What's the average sale price for
Savannah, do you know that answer? The average sale price for our office? I can look on my tally report and send that out to you in the meeting slides. I do have that in our meeting slides. I mean, I'm not our meeting slides, in my daily tally report. So I can send that out when I send these out. Properties typically sold faster in 12 days. So that's the days on market. And then interest rates, again, you know, something we keep seeing, we all know. It's why our market's changing right now, actually, right? It's a big reason why we have a sort of a slowdown in our market because of the sudden increase in interest rates. So again, this was back in June, right? The earlier June, and it just continues to rise. So here's some of, yes. I'm not talking about a mortgage company waiving an appraisal. I'm talking about a client waiving their appraisal is going to go away. Not what the mortgage company does. That's totally different. I don't know about that. That's what Anthony. Yeah, no. Well, I could see that. I'm saying the buyers are going to start not doing, you know, they're changing things with home inspections and appraisals. Yeah, everything's shifting, right? Which happens, right? We're always going through ups and downs in real estate. So here's some of the base signings for workforce mobility. Santander Bank is someone I'm assuming everybody knows, formerly Sovereign Bank, and Hootsuite, which is a social media management platform. So those are 4 new listings for Whitecroft Mobility. And then here is a franchise update. So again, you know, the Whitecroft franchise opens offices, they move across the country one way and then come back to the opposite way, and that's how they fill it out. So right now, we're in 43 states. We have 7,000 agents. We have 372 open offices. And I guess 9 offices that have not opened yet, so they continue to grow. So some office updates. This is our team up. Everybody knows what our team up is. It's just a daily tally of what the revenue units that you guys turn in as far as your transactions. So this is the last week of the month. So please hand in any transactions that you have in attorney review if you have not handed them in yet, because that's our revenue units for the month. So we are at 32 for the month, and our goal is 63. Oh, you know what? That's not right. I didn't change it this morning because I was running around like a crazy person. I was like, no way. I know we were a lot higher than that. Let me give you the accurate number where we are today, and I'll change it when I do the slide. Again, if anybody saw me this morning, I was like in supermarket suite running around like a crazy person. Okay, so we're actually up to 44 revenue units. We had 11 this week so far. So please continue to hand them in. That's any sales that you have in attorney review, or if you have a listing and someone brought a sale in, regardless of who it is, that's a revenue unit as well. So just a reminder for you guys, especially if you're not sure if you handed something in, speaking about handing paperwork in, everybody has access to their Money Matters. If you go into Money Matters, as soon as Savannah inputs any paperwork that you provide to her, it goes into Money Matters, and you can view your upcoming pending sales. any of your commissions, all of that stuff is in there, right, to keep you up to date. So, you know, it was funny, the reason I brought this up is because a new agent who already, she's been in the business, I want to say 2 months. She has 2 or 3 deals under contract. And so one of hers was a listing that she handed in, and her mentor said, go into Money Manager. This is where you see all of your pending, you know, commissions. I said, no, one of them's missing, but I handed it in. She didn't realize once she got an offer on the listing, she had to hand that paperwork in, right? So all these things that it's just all a learning curve, right? So she handed that in and now she can see it. So I thought maybe just a reminder, your 1099 is there if for any reason you didn't get in the mail or you misplaced it, right? All of your past commission checks are there. So you're able to see all of your finances. No, but she wanted to see in her commissions what she was actually getting for commission. So that doesn't transfer over to a commission until she answered the sale. So that's why. So again, tomorrow is a lead paint inspection and remediation webinar. If you all signed up for it, if you didn't, come in here. I will have it. You know, I've signed up for it, so I will have it on. But if you have any questions, I don't have the answers. Gary Cato doesn't have the answers. Gary Lars doesn't have the answers. So we need to speak to the people who hopefully have the answers and get these questions answered on what's going on. So that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And if you haven't registered, you can register there. I put the link on top, or come into the office and we'll watch it together. Then again, we're doing the contest for open houses. So June, July, and August, monthly winners will receive 4 personalized open house signs, and grand prize winner receives 8. So again, must host a minimum of 4 open houses per month to qualify, and that could be weekday, weekend, workers opens, all qualify. So a lot of the offices right now to take advantage of getting into open houses and meeting clients are doing, when they get a new listing, they're doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they're doing 4 days of open houses. They're doing a brokers over on Thursday, Friday they're doing an open house, a twilight one, and then Saturday and Sunday. And another thing they're doing is they're doing it from like 11 to 5 on Saturday and Sunday. So does that, everybody's like, that's my whole day. No, they're doing it in shifts so that everybody gets an opportunity, because there's so many people who wanted to open houses. They don't have the houses to sit. They're doing shifts. So they're doing the same house and people are doing it for 2 hours or 3 hours and coming in and changing over. So that house is staying with them longer to get people in. So just some ideas with open houses. Again, door knocking. I door knocked our office today, and someone was fresh with their business card on it. But we have so many of these opportunities for door knockers. We have all these door knockers in stock. So let Silvana know. It's a great way to get out and meet new people. And then office training and events. So I'm off next week. I will be out for the week. So there will be no office meeting next week. And no trainings for me, but following Monday, when I get back, July 11th, there will be a lunch and learn with Mark Ranowitz, and he will be providing lunch, and he'll be going over and doing an overview of the sales contract. I know you guys love to hear, because it's just great information, great reminders, and things have changed in the sales contract the last few months, so things have been added. So again, a good way to just go over our sales contract. And then we have a coaching program called Instant Inventory that I started this Monday. I gave those agents some tasks to do in the next 2 weeks. So we'll meet for 12:30 that week, right before the lunch and learn, and then we'll get right into the lunch and learn. Today is our 4th of July engagement party, so we're doing a barbecue out in the parking lot. 12 o'clock, we're starting with our my record engagement, engaging 10 contacts, and then about 12:30, we'll start with the barbecue outside. Our 22nd annual charity golf outing at Fiddler's Elbow is coming up Thursday, August 18th. So if you want to donate, there's a link on here that you can make a direct donation for. We're also supposed to be collecting stuff for baskets. We're supposed to be providing 2 baskets in office. Silvana keeps reminding me. So it's household goods or bottles of wine. So hopefully we can get something together before August 18th. But I'll talk to you about that. Also, I don't have it on the slides today, but Kelly and I have cheered a walkathon for our office. And it's for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and it's going to be in Morristown, amongst other people that are going to be joining. And it's going to be October 22nd, Saturday night at 4, and they have music and food and a lot of great things. So we're going to have more information coming up. Each person gets sponsors, and based on what sponsors you get and the amount of money you pull in, you get T-shirts and food and different awards. And they're doing, it's called Light the Night, and they're gonna be setting up lanterns. So it's a really fun, yeah. So I thought it'd be a nice community event for us to participate in. And we just talked to her yesterday, so we just got the information, and we'll move forward from there. I'll start putting that out.
In Morristown, like where the, Mount Campbell, where that big corporate complex is, over by AT&T, then we need to walk it there.
In the market here. Let's focus on the real estate sector issues, existing home sales over 14 months ago, over new home sales surge than expected. While the new home sales can be volatile. Interest rate, bounce back. Consumer reports going into the holiday weekend, orders of durable goods, consumer confidence, personal income and spending, and the final revision of the first quarter economic GDP, plus the meeting of the OPC, which is all this month. So as you can see, look at that, we came away from our 6% number that we're seeing a lot of over the last week. So rates were down a little bit going into the end of last week. They've come up a little bit on this week, but we're still hanging in there. I think going into hopefully the weekend, it should kind of be quiet. And a lot of times when the market stuff kind of closes for a holiday weekend, they come back kind of ready for business. We'll see what happens. I think rates are high. We mentioned this last week. The average rates over the last 50 years were 7.77%. So we're still sitting below those averages, which is good. This kind of gives an indication on just a Freddie study regarding that 7.5 and the spike we saw in the 80s, and then obviously it's been way lower. So higher rates. Instead of lowering the sales price, buy down the rate. So this is a confusing thing to kind of understand when I try to do my best with it. You can always take this as a one-off kind of thing. So for example, let's say a buyer is buying a house for $500,000, right? It's the listing, not the selling price. The alternative one would be lower sales price of $470,000, right? So it's a $30,000 cost. Alternative two would be the seller buys down the rate of 0.5%, which is $9,000. For the seller, you save $20,000 because they're not reducing the price of the house. For the buyer, they're seeing a difference in rate reduction from $450,000 mortgage at 6%, which is $2,700 on principal and interest, at 5.5% of $2,550, assuming it's low. And then at 6%, $2,520, assuming the sales price is low. So what it's doing is just giving you different variations and options on kind of how to position this differently to kind of work things out. I'm going to put something better together for it. I kind of like the way all this is a little confusing. I was actually having some but basically the same thing for the buyer. But you can say the seller is $20,000, you have something unique that for buyers, making it easier to follow. Works better for arms if they're cheaper to buy. So again, it all depends on the market, it all depends on kind of what's going on. There's definitely caveats with it based on credit score and stuff like that too as well, where sometimes this doesn't work. And I'll kind of pull this off and I'll put something together just a little bit better for you to understand. Great.
We'll also put together one that like the rate sheet that we put in the house that like explains it for the house that we have.
Specifically? Yeah, I mean, that's more of a specific sheet, but I can try to put something together that's marketable. That makes sense. Yeah, sure. Most rates letting down to the best real estate transaction, real estate lowest commissions rate usually leads to the best real estate experience. The same with a mortgage. Advisors are part of the team and dedicated on an extra mile. This week's story, one of our mortgage advisors noticed that we're listening in the office. We also call an agent about listening to sale. As you know, in this case, he had done some research first and found out it had been sold recently. And informed the agent that even though it was an FHA price range, FHA would not accept the contract to be considered a flip. Possible issue which could cause a disaster avoidance. So you guys know that about like recently flipped properties, what the implications come into with FHA buyers. So let's say you have an investor buys a house. He only held the house for, let's say, a couple months, right? Did his due diligence, did everything, finished the house, and now we're selling. The buyer that comes to it is not FHA buyer. There's restrictions, appraisal requirements that you need to get the right time frame. So sellers own the house for at least 60 days from when it was deeded, right? If they're trying to buy the house less than that, you need 2 appraisals. So even though you might get an appraisal that comes in at value, you need a second appraisal under a solar. So a lot of times when many investors, if they're flipping a house that's only owned for a short period of time, they may not even accept your FHA. So you gotta be aware of that.
But they don't have the words.
They gotta wait. So, but sometimes, believe it or not, there were things that going on out there over the last couple of years. Buying a house and transferring property, so things like that.
So you need a second appraisal. Do that. Oh, and then it gets bad.
You're gonna get trouble. Keep in mind, FHA appraisal, right, case on. That follows the property for at least 6 months. So if you have a buyer on a house and you can offer on a property, FHA loan, let's say they don't qualify, right? You have to remarket it, find a new buyer for an FHA loan. That appraisal follows that buyer, the new buyer for the next 6 months. So it doesn't matter what they offer. You have to go on that appraisal. Yeah, boss. Correct. So right. And that's why sometimes people will not take an FHA loan.
They have to pay for both appraisals.
No, they pay for the first one, the second.
Do they expect to have to do base number also?
No. You got a competitive rate, the company that knows the importance of closing the transaction. I sent that flyer out last week to you guys. I'm gonna send a revision to that. Actually, I'm just working on getting the QR code changed. Something I cut off when I copy and pasted it or filters there. That you guys can mark. That actually worked for the customer story. Bright lights, really offering a program. Agent call Lori back to get an explanation on the guarantee, how it works and stuff. You know, those kind of things are really helping the market. I was speaking to the agent also the other day about we were putting a contract together and trying to make sure that the contract had all the language in there, making sure they understood the addendum.
What I did with mine is when I sent the listing agent the PDF, the first page was the approval, and then the second page was just a small summary. But
Which I have.
yeah, and it was like so simple, and then it said the addendum, which was page number 3. So when the seller is looking at it, he sees that's the second page, it definitely draws interest rather than burying it. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're just signing it.
Or putting it on the front page of your email, where you don't know if the agent is going to print out your email, right? They're going to print out the attachment, So make sure whatever you're putting on that front page of the email, you're also doing as part of your attachment so that it goes to the seller or has a better chance of going to the seller.
What type of loan is suitable as an interest rate? No. AFHA, EPA, CUSDA.
Suitable at the current interest rate.
I'm gonna guess B.
Yeah, I think.
C.
Yeah, I think the.
I can't assume
Losers. Losers.
I mean, whenever they put all in the bottom.
Yeah.
On the virus, previous.
So at the present interest rate, does that mean at today's interest rate, or does that mean at the interest rate they received it, that they locked into whenever they got it? Huh? The previous interest rate. I think that's a little bit, present interest rate to me means present interest rate, what's going on. But, so think about that. Yeah, but if you're selling a home, or you have a buyer, and they're interested in a home, it may be to your advantage to find out how that person financed that home. And one way you can do that is to look in the MLS, how someone financed it. I mean, they could have refinanced or something. And if someone's an FHA, and yours is an FHA, they can assume that lower rate that that person had versus getting a mortgage today at 6%. Yes, I listened, Anthony.
She's a little, because she was married to a veteran.
That's great. That's a great question. That's great to know also. Virginia, tell her about her language.
What did you say that?
That won't help. That won't.
You know, I think she was a thing.
Also too, as well, with VA buyers, it's gotta be husband and wife, gotta be a married couple to be eligible. So you can't like buy a house with dad's a veteran and like daughter that's not. She could be on there, son, or boyfriend, girlfriend type of thing. Gotta be married.
Right. But you had told us about like second VA loan, a higher rate. So as one, can they assume it?
What do you mean, like, if you already had a mortgage?
Yeah.
If you have a VA loan, I mean, the first one needs to be paid off, or they can be held simultaneously and still buy another house on a VA loan. VA doesn't want you to have two VA loans out at one time. So like, you can't go buy a second home, or you can't have a VA mortgage and then turn that property into investment property, and then buy a new VA loan at that point as well. So you can sell your house and then get another one with VA loan too. You can't have two VA loans.
Thank you, Anthony. Rate is basically the same every week. It hasn't really changed. I'm waiting for like a huge increase in listings or a huge decrease in under contracts, but nope, everything is about the same. So you can take a look at those numbers. So new listings on the market this week. Terry, do you want to talk about your new listing?
Oh, yeah, this is a list. This is a listing. I think Bob said mentioned it last week. This is a listing that Bob and I got together from Liar Laws from actually 9 years ago. I thought it was like 4.
I know time goes on. I know, I agree.
It's in a great gated community, and there's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, open floor plan, 2-car garage, which is important there. That's not basic. But updated, great pictures are on there. And the HOA is.
Sorry.
The HOA is.
683. Indoor pool, outdoor pool, tennis courts, playground, clubhouse.
There's a jitney go there?
Yes. Yes.
That's important. That's important. The jitney. Okay. Oh, so you get a lot for the money.
There was an essential society. About 2 years ago, we paid that all off.
Oh, okay.
Other homeowners, and that it was minimally added. And we got it all paid for.
What are the taxes there?
Um,
I'm just gonna try to run. offices in Essex County. Bring listed. That's a great area. Very high area. Jennifer Fox has 11 Park Avenue, it's over 420. Mara has 51 Mount Pebble Ave in Morristown. Ladies have 2467 Lieutenant Parsippany. The Mountain Club from 2399. Assuming it's 2399, that's a 2-bedroom. Also 2350 Route 10 Parsippany, which is across the street at Cedar Brook for 199. It's beautiful. Neil, those are condos. Ben, do you know about this one?
It's electric feet.
Huh? Oh, okay. So guess what? If you didn't hear it the first 2 times, he's not telling us again. Okay. Basically, you missed out, people. Look it up yourself. Marissa has 122 Valley View Road. She announced it last week for 40. It's her grandparents' house. Yeah, it is. Howard and Tabitha has 26 Horse Neck Road in Montville at 699. And Cheryl has 51 Rushmore Lane in Alalucci for 300,000. Anybody else have anything new coming up for coming soon in search of the listings they want to share? Okay, then you all need to be in my instant inventory coaching session. Okay, if you don't have listings coming up, that's where you need to be. Monday, July 11th. I'll see you at 12:30. Okay, thank you for your time today. Join us at 12. You can have a bathroom, a potty break, get yourself refreshed, and then help me and Anthony get back together. You can give it up. You want to give me a check? Thank you. That's what you came in to me yesterday. Hopefully you're my lucky charm. And thank you, Terry. But Patrick's not. You win a lot of money? That's nice. I got I was sweating when I came in here. Now I'm dying of down freezing.